Hi, happy Valentine's Day. This year, I want to give you the gift of self-love, because unless you love yourself, you cannot fully receive the love of another, no matter what relationship we're talking about. Unless you accept yourself, you cannot even conceive that someone would accept you the way and love you the way you are. So the practice I want to introduce today is actually specifically for self-acceptance. And specifically, if you tend to be perfectionistic and you want to let that go, that's perfect for you. I apply that to myself. I apply that practice in my life. I give it to all my clients who tend to be very, especially the type A people. And it does marvels. The concept is to live with a low grade of failure and be at ease with it. And your body may tense when you hear that, because if you're like me, you're very passionate, you want to do things right, you like excellence. But excellence doesn't necessarily mean perfection. That's the one thing to remember. And when you are too hard on yourself, it's like if you were asking your teenagers to have A's at school. We all love it when they have A's, right? But sometimes they have other grades. And in the case of two of my children who were very smart and they knew how to invest the least to receive the most out of it, they were not ending up in A's. They were ending up in B's, etc., etc., and sometimes C's. When you can tolerate that a percentage of your goal is not met, which you would normally label failure, let's say they come back with B's and C's, but you still see that they made the effort or you made the effort to do whatever you're trying to install in your life as a habit, you practice peace, practice acceptance of that. You're going to have so much less pressure inside, because let's say if they were coming home with B's and they put a lot of effort and you're aware of it and you say, no, that's not enough. I'm sorry, that's not what we agreed. After a while, because they don't get the reward, they consistently make the effort and get the opposite of the reward, they're going to say, screw that. I'm not making the effort anymore. Anyway, I'm never going to get the reward. She won't be happy. We also have a teenager in us. If we're talking, for example, about food, I know I apply that with food, because if you're like me and you want to be healthy and you want to be consciously eating healthy and you're too strict on yourself, you're too restrictive, you're at like, I need 100% of success, 100% of healthy food. At one point, you're going to deprive yourself so much that you're building some pressure inside. There are needs that are not met. You don't like to be controlled, whether it is by yourself or someone else. We don't like to be fully controlled. And there is a part of us that doesn't like that. If you want, call it your inner teenager. At one point, you're going to clash and you're going to say, in front of the TV, maybe in front of Netflix, like it happened to me, and munching on a whole bag of food, of chips, without being even able to stop, because there was a compulsion, something that was like, no one is going to control me, I'm going to do whatever I want, and anyway, I messed up that day already, so I might as well go for it. Do you realize how it plays against you? Let's give you another example. Let's say you said you would do an hour or an hour and a half of exercise 4 times a week, or 5 times a week, or 4 times a week. And there are days when you don't have time. You only have 15 minutes. And you say, well, 15 minutes is not enough, is not what I said, so I might as well skip it. Same concept. Because you put so much pressure and you feel unable to reach that goal, you just give up and you're just trying to avoid it, and you don't go there because it feels bad. That plays against you. Whereas if you were doing the 15 minutes, you would still get some benefits. First of all, you would install a habit. When you do things consistently, some people say after 21 days, I think I've read some other research that said that some habit will need actually a year to really create circuits in your brains, wiring your brain the way it should be if you want it to become effortless. Practicing it, even if you don't practice the time that you would say, staying on eating healthy, even if you had a bar of chocolate, or I don't know, first of all, it can be healthy chocolate, but even if you try to avoid sugar and you had sugar, you will install the habit. And if you can be at peace with that, you're accepting the fact that you're not perfect. And to help you, what's better than tapping? You know, I love tapping. So when something happens and you're not where you said you would be, or you're trying to be, use tapping to bring yourself back to peace. And that can look like that. Even though I only exercised 15 minutes today, or even though I had a piece of cake that wasn't healthy at all, I accept myself and the way I feel. And if you can say I accept and love myself, for example, you can say I'm willing to learn to accept myself. I'm willing to learn to be at peace with that. Even though I did that, depending on what it is. It can be, for example, another example that came to me is you said you wouldn't yell at your teen, and here you are again. Your buttons were pushed and you raised your voice and you feel terrible because you are failing, you're feeling like a failure, you said you wouldn't do that, etc. Even though I screamed at my teen today and I said I wouldn't do that anymore, I am willing to learn to accept myself with that. Even though I screamed at my teen and I wanted to be completely 100% off this habit, I realized that it's not realistic, and I'm willing to accept a little bit of failure. I'm willing to be okay with the fact that I screamed. I'm willing to learn to be at peace with that. I screamed at them, or I ate the cake. I only did 15 minutes, whatever the case is. I am learning to be at peace with that. I'm learning to accept myself. I'm willing to accept myself with this. I did that thing, replaced by whatever you did. I am willing to accept myself completely anyway. And under the bone here, you know the tapping points. If you don't know, refer to the tapping video introduction in this playlist. I am willing to accept myself fully and completely. I did that under the arm. I love myself anyway. And you can do several rounds until you get to, you will feel it in your body, you will relax, or you will have a thought that sometimes we have what we call cognitive shifts. You're going to think, why do I do that to myself? Or, yeah, I'm at peace. Something is going to change in your perception, and you will know that you can stop tapping. I'm letting you know, at the beginning, you may have to do that a lot, several times a day, or every time you do it, until you can really, it can become an emotional habit, and you can accept yourself. And again, I'm not talking about completely giving up on your goal, completely raising your arms in the air and say, I don't care, I'm just eating crappy for the rest of my life. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being okay with the fact that you're going to mess up, because you will. We always do. We're human beings. We're not robots. When we try to be robots, we build too much tension, too much pressure inside. It will play against us. It will come back like a ball that you maintain underwater. It's going to come up and hit you in the face. It's not going to go well. Another anecdote I wanted to give as an example. I remember a long time ago when I was living in the US in Las Vegas, I had a client who was very perfectionistic. She was very put together. She was a successful realtor, and she liked things the way they should be done. My homework to her was to not make her bed every day. And she had such a strong reaction to that. And I saw her many years later, and she told me, you know, there are still days where I don't make my bed. I think about you when I don't make my bed. Willing to accept that you're not perfect and you're still safe. Yeah, when you tap, you can also say, I am safe. Even though I did that, I am safe. Because it comes from our childhood and the way that we were loved and rewarded when we did certain things in a certain way when we were kids. And if we didn't, love was taken away from us. And for a child, that's the worst thing that can happen. So you're gonna have a wiring in your brain that's gonna be alert, alert, danger, danger. Love is gonna be taken away and you feel unsafe. That's where it comes from. So we're trying to break that cycle and bring our body, our mind, our nervous system, everything in us to peace no matter what, to acceptance no matter what. So that's my gift for today. You can put comments below. I'm interested in seeing how it goes for you. And as you know, I always put different topics. So if there is a topic you would like me to approach with tapping or another exercise, maybe don't hesitate to put it below. Have a wonderful Valentine's Day or whatever day if you're not watching that on Valentine's Day. And I'll see you next time.